everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a while, I know. I've been on trips in the last like 6 months, so I've been really busy. So I thought this was a great opportunity for me to do a video sharing you, I guess, my top 5 items or things that I keep in my carry-on. This is probably like 5.5 items. And you know, these are maybe things that you already have in your carry-on, or maybe they're little reminders because you're going on vacation as well, or going on a trip somewhere. But these are my top 5.5 very important items that I always keep in my carry-on. I know carry-ons come in all shapes and forms and different sizes. I usually have a four-wheeler luggage carry-on size. Keeping in mind, of course, this can easily be overweight for some airlines. And with that being said, I would encourage you to check that for the airline that you will be getting on. I know budget airline wise, they might weigh your luggage before you are able to get on to make sure that it's under, I think it's usually under like 10 kilograms. And for most airlines, it's like that too, but some are a little bit more lenient than others, and it also depends on whether it's a full flight, right? Anyhow, let me get started. So the number one thing, and you know, this is in no particular order, but I think this is a no-brainer, which is medications. Any type of medication, whether this is emergency medication or medication that you normally have on a day-to-day basis, make sure to have this in your carry-on or with you somehow. Okay, don't leave them in the check-in. And don't get me wrong, you probably think, oh, that's such a no-brainer. Like, how could people forget that? Well, there are many people that do. And I have heard of very scary stories where, you know, it totally ruined somebody's trip because the check-in luggage never made it to their destination. And in fact, it got shipped home. So throughout their trip, they didn't have what they needed. Luckily enough, it wasn't something that was a deadly thing that if they didn't take the medication, they would die, but it definitely caused a lot of discomfort. But of course, if this is a medication that if you miss it by a day or two, it can cause issues and it can be life-threatening, then make sure, keep it with you. With that being said, of course, there are certain medications that are not allowed into certain countries, so do check the destination that you're going to and make sure all the medications you're bringing in is allowed. And of course, keep them in the original packaging. When you go through security, it's easier for security to basically take a look and be like, okay, this is fine, versus, oh, what is this? You know, we will need to do some testing to see what kind of drugs you're actually bringing in. For me, I don't take medications on a day-to-day basis, so I just bring my emergency medication, which is like Tylenol Cold, Pepto. I have a whole little jar of Pepto that only has like a few in here. This is just purely for emergency purposes. I have a sensitive stomach, so you know, if I eat something wrong, I might get the runs. This will help me solve some of that problem, or at least relieve some of the symptoms. And of course, I also have a clear package here, or container, that I keep Tylenol Complete, morning and night, and I also bring my Claritin in here as well. So those are things, of course, if you get headaches often, make sure you bring painkillers of something. If you are lactose intolerant, of course, make sure you bring those pills as well, because it's not always readily available at the pharmacy in your destination that you're going to. And sometimes there's a language barrier. It's hard to explain to them, you know, what kind of medication you need, right? So that becomes, I know nowadays we can just use Google Translate, absolutely. But when you're sick, all you want to do is just get some kind of relief, right? You don't want to have to think about where's the closest pharmacy for me to get this kind of medication. So it's always best to bring them with you and to keep them close to you. Next is a toiletry bag. You're probably thinking, what? But you know, most hotels offer the basic toiletry. If you're okay with those, absolutely don't worry about this. I'm not. I'm very particular with what I use, and I normally, if this is a long time that I'm away from home, such as, you know, like anything more than 5 days to a week, I would definitely have a check-in, and I would definitely have my usual toiletry bag, which I think I shared a video on that, which I'll link it somewhere here so that you guys can check it out. But I will also pack a second one. A second one that is smaller, that maybe only has the essentials that I need for the next few days. Once again, if that, you know, luggage of mine didn't make it with me to my destination, I wouldn't be scrambling looking for items that I need in the next few days. I've been to Southeast Asia in the last few months quite a bit, so I'm like a mosquito feeder practically. So mosquito repellent is the #1 thing, and because it's an aerosol can, I have to put it into my carry-on. And of course, this is a carry-on size, which is perfect. So do make sure, of course, all your liquids that you're keeping in your toiletry in your carry-on that is less than I guess 100 milliliters, all your liquids. Another thing, I guess the third item would be actually a set of pajamas and 2 sets of regular clothes, or I guess 1 work clothes if you're on a business trip, or and then 1 regular clothes, so that you're feeling comfortable in the next couple of days if your luggage, once again, doesn't arrive in your destination. With that being said, of course, you know, you probably also want an extra set of undergarments, you know, so that just in case, once again, you know, if you need, you can always hand wash some of this at the hotel and, you know, still be able to survive for the next few days without having to scramble and look for a mall or you know, to go shopping. When you're on vacation, I don't think that's a huge issue, right? Because that's probably one of the first things you might want to do, right? You want to go shopping, you want to buy more things. But when you're like me, when I'm on business trips, I might hit the ground running and, you know, after landing for a couple hours. I don't have the time to figure out where's the closest mall for me to get another set of clothes. So I like to keep that in my carry-on. Another thing, and this is also a no-brainer, is your laptops and your electronical devices is to be kept in your carry-on. Of course, because when you go through security, you actually have to take that out and actually show them. Don't keep those in your check-in. And with these devices, make sure you bring the charger. Sometimes I understand some people are like, oh, but my charger's so heavy. How would I keep it in my check-in? No, because you never know, once again, what if that goes missing? Then you're left with, you know, devices that can work for only X amount of time. And then now you have this dead device with you the whole entire trip. Or you have to, once again, go and find a charger at your destination. And depending on where you're going, they may or may not have it. So you might be carrying something that isn't really useful to you after it's completely dead with your bag. Next item, and I guess one of the last, is something that I normally would carry, which is snacks. Whether this is a short haul flight or a long haul flight, I always like to have snacks. When you're up that high in altitude, you might think, you know, I don't have any appetite to eat anything. And that's me, generally. I usually don't. So I like to carry some snacks that I normally would eat at home. Keeping in mind, you know, this isn't the most healthy. Currently, my favorite snacks are these, Pretz and Prepto. These are things that I just generally like to eat. So when I don't have an appetite, at least this can, you know, carry on with however long my flight is and make me feel a little bit like home. So a little bit of a comfort. So last, this is kind of like a half kind of a item that I would put in and a little bit of a tip for you. So if you're like me, you like these like 4-wheeler carry-ons, it can easily go overweight for certain airlines. And then you would have to take things out, such as your laptops, your electronical devices, because obviously you don't want that to go into check-in. With that being said, I leave myself a foldable Longchamp big bag, and I would have to take out certain things in this carry-on to make sure I have it at my destination. And have I done this before? Yes. Within the last year, I've definitely done that at least once, because a lot of the times budget airlines don't allow you to go overweight or over, like, I think it's like 10 kilograms for your carry-on. So that's a way to work around that, so you at least have a couple of your items, right? And of course, usually they're your essentials, like, you know, electronical devices, my toiletry bag, and, you know, maybe undergarments and 1 set of clothes. That's usually, I can roll all that up and put it in my Longchamp bag. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if so, remember to give me that thumbs up, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye!